So, patola time, game. Sabi ni Rii, gosh, I hope you don't stink as much as your name. Anyway, gawa kayo ng foundation at tumulong kaysa kontra na lang kayo ng kontra sa gobyerno. Shall we start? Where do we start with this one? Number 1, Mr. Rii, or whatever your gender is, I don't want to misgender you. Nagsasalita kami dito dahil mali ang gobyerno. Palibhasa ikaw, gusto mo, spoiled brat ang gobyerno. Ini-spoil ninyo mga officials at in fact, an entire machinery that is already so powerful, nagnanakaw na sila sa atin at sa ating kinabukasan, pero gusto mo, tumuwad lang tayo. Yun po ang sinasabi mo dyan. You want them to continue to pillage the national treasury to the detriment of our well-being, the national interest, and the future of our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. Okay? Tumulong, that's what we're doing. Ikaw po, hindi. What you are doing is pinamimihasa mo ang mga magnanakaw sa gobyerno. Pinamimihasa mo ang mga taong gumagahasa sa treasury natin, and you want us to say thank you. Huwag mong isipin na you're not doing any harm. You are. Doon sa ginagawa mo na hindi ka tumututol dito sa harap-harapang mali na ginagawa ng gobyerno sa atin. One of these days, you will find yourself the victim of this government. Bakit? Kasi pinalaki mo yung ulo. So, excuse me. Ikaw yung hindi ka anti-hero, villain ka. Today, pag-usapan natin ang, aray ko, masakit ito, ang ekonomiya. Okay, kanina may pahayag, 26 ngayon, may pahayag ang IMF na dapat isoli sa Land Bank at sa DBP ang kinuha na pinangkapital sa Maharlika Investment Fund. So, marami na po kasi ilang buwan nang nakalipas, kinukulit ninyo ako tungkol sa Maharlika Investment Fund. And as a matter of fact, diba, 2 weeks ago, nag-announce tayo na mayroon na naman silang accomplishment. Ang unang-unang accomplishment ng Maharlika Fund was nakapagpagawa sila ng logo. Okay? Na may kasama ng bagong Pilipinas na logo. Ang galing-galing nila. First success. Ang second success nila ay nakapagpa-inaugurate sila ng bagong opisina. May bago na kaagad na nasa BGC at ang nag-ribbon cutting ay si Unang Ginang mismo. Dahil yung opisina ng Maharlika ay malapit lang sa opisina ng ating Unang Ginang nung siya po ay naglo-law office pa. So, sabi ni Luffy, ano po ibig sabihin nito? Wait lang, yan nga yung pinag-uusapan natin di ba? Sabi ng IMF, capital restoration needed for Land Bank and DBP. Ito yung masaya. In one statement, ang daming nabuking. Okay? So, in 2023, nag-announce ang ating Pangulo during his State of the Nation speech. Ang sabi niya, economic recovery. At ang primary na plano na nakasaad din sa kanyang speech ay, unang-una, ay pondohan ang public infrastructure projects. Ito halos ang buong plano niya for economic recovery. Sabi ko parang kulang. Anyway, sige. Yung buong plano niya is primarily centerpiece yung Maharlika at halos yun na yun. Okay, sige. So nagawa nga po ang Maharlika Investment Corporation. Ang purpose nito ay mag-i-invest siya with the seed money given to them. Mag-i-invest nila ito para kumita. At doon sa kita nito, yun po ang gagamitin para pondohan ang mga public infrastructure works. And as a matter of fact, binanggit ng Pangulo, 194 of the NEDA-approved priority infrastructure projects ang siyang pupondohan nito. Sabi ko, yung 194, akala ko kung ano yun. So tinignan ko, ano po ba itong 194 na ito? Okay? Ito po, natawa ko. So nakita, lumitaw naman yung revised infrastructure flagship projects. Yun pala ang ipopondohan nito. So tinignan natin yung 194 na proyekto nito at ito ang lumitaw. Anticlimactic. Ayan. This is a revised list of infrastructure flagship projects. And look at the date, May 12, 2021. Kung titignan po natin yung mismong mga proyekto, ito ang makikita. Teka, lakihan natin. Since 2021 yan, guess what administration started these projects? You're right, it wasn't the Marcos administration. Itong mga proyektong to, katulad nito, yung ginagawa, Binondo Intramuros Bridge, Estrella Pantaleon Bridge, etc. These were designated flagship projects by the previous administration. Kasama dito, MRT4, Pangil Bay Bridge, Samal Island Davao City Connector Bridge, yan. Subic Clark Railway. Pag tinignan mo ang funding sources niya, ito po ang lumilitaw. ODA, GAA, PPP, STOA, and PPP. So ano yan? So I look for more infrastructure projects, yung NEDA approved infrastructure projects. Yan lang po ang lumilitaw. So, ibig sabihin nito, these projects already have designated funding sources. Ngayon, kung maaalala ninyo, in 2022, then Undersecretary of Rail, Cesar Chavez, announced na papatigilin ang PNR dahil ginagawa ang North-South Rail, ang North Rail. Pagkatapos niyan, and this year, in-announce nila na all the trains are stopping. So pati yung all of the Mindanao projects, particularly transport projects on rails, ay pinatigil. That includes all other existing projects. So, bakit nag-slow down? Walang pera. Kulang sa pera. That's today, 2024. And yet, in 2023, in-announce ng Pangulo, the Maharlika Investment Fund is going to be used para pondohan itong mga proyektong ito. And in fact, in the same year, in-announce niya na yung budget for 2024, very proud pa siya 70% daw of the national budget for 2024 was allocated for economic and social services. Ito daw ay bahagi din ng economic recovery. But what were those economic and social services? I'll give you one guess. It starts with the letter A. What's that? O, alam niyo na kung ano yan. Ayuda, almost 800 billion na nanggaling sa ating mga GOCCs. Galing siya sa unprogrammed funds. As we posted sa Luminous, what are unprogrammed funds? Unprogrammed funds, ibig sabihin, hindi pa yan nakokolekta at the time na ginagawa yung budget. So yan ay future tax collections, new taxes, based on new taxes, yung mga new taxes. Future collections on new taxes kasi hindi pa sila naka-allocate. Yung kita ng mga GOCCs, yung mga kita pag sila ay nagpapaloan, and so on. So, bakit unprogrammed? Kasi hindi mo pwedeng i-budget pag hindi mo pa hawak ang pera. Hindi mo pwedeng italaga sa budget, ay sa saligang batas yan, unless na-kolekta na yan at na-account na siya. That way, it can be released to the respective government agencies na gagamit dito. That's why, ang unprogrammed funds naman, although nakolekta na siya, pwede yan i-draw ng executive. Pwede yan for yung mga para mapondohan, anything in the budget with a line item na either walang pondo o ubusan na ng pondo. So halimbawa, hindi mo na foresee na mayroon kang certain foreign trips that make it necessary for you to go. Ubus na ang pondo by half the year, pwede kang mag-draw doon sa unprogrammed funds. Pag merong mga unforeseeable activities, pwede kang mag-draw dyan sa funds na yan. Kung kulang yung inyong budget, pero may mga necessary expenses, then kailangan doon sa unprogrammed funds yan kukunin. So okay, ano nangyari dito? Halimbawa, noong 2022, bago kami sa gabinete, ang unang diskusyon ay ang hihingin natin na pondo doon sa Kongreso, bago kami mag-budget hearings. So, para makapag-budget hearing, kailangan ayusin ng DBM yung mga hihingin namin. So, ang sabi, nung nilabas ang National Expenditure Program, syempre, lahat ng gabinete umangal, ma'am, wala kaming ganito. Okay, so isa-isa kaming umupo with DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman at nagbeg, so madaling sabi. Ang binibeg ko sa kanya noon ay 10 sasakyan na sinubmit namin for the National Expenditure Program pero hindi siya na-include. Ang kailangan lang naman was something like 10 million. So, kailangan kasi ng mga sasakyan ng PNA for the reporters. So, pinagbigyan kami, we included that in the NEP at pinagbigyan din ng Kongreso yan. But mas malaki ang hinihingi ng iba katulad ng DENR at saka Department of Energy kasi they needed certain developmental projects. So, yung iba nanggaling sa natitirang unprogrammed funds ng DBM. So, nakikita natin bahagi naman talaga ng DBM sa proseso. Yun nga lang, hindi pwedeng mas malaki pa yung dinodraw mo sa unprogrammed kesa dun sa mga nasa budget. Kasi that would be ripe for corruption. At yun na nga po, mukhang ganun na nga po ang nangyari. So, yung most of the unprogrammed funds na binigay para sa ayuda ay nanggaling sa kita ng mga GOCCs or government-owned and controlled corporations. Ano ang mga ito? Well, GSIS, SSS, PhilHealth, and so on, di ba? The Maharlika Investment Corporation is also a GOCC. So, itong mga GOCCs, because they are run like corporations, may kita sila. However, kadalasan sa kanilang kita, ang mga charters ng mga GOCCs na ito ay may provision sa kanilang charter na kapag may surplus funds o kaya may kita sila, yan po ay ibabalik dun sa pondo na pinalalaki nila. Halimbawa, kung mayroong endowment fund, yung mamaya ka nalili, pagtatawanan ka namin later, mamaya ka na umirit. Makinig ka muna kasi baka matuto ka. Accidentally, sure ako matututo ka one way or another, but most likely it will be an accident. Okay. So, dun sa sa kita ng mga GOCCs, for example, GSIS. GSIS will put the money back into its fund, yung pondo na nilalaanan natin, yung binibigay ng mga government employees, nilalagay sa isang pondo yan, kinakaltas yan sa sweldo nila, tapos ini-invest yan ng GSIS. So meron silang mga investments in land, meron silang mga investments in I think other retirement funds and other funds, including those one in New York in particular. So yung mga yung pondo na yan, ini-invest yan ng GSIS para lumaki. Pag lumalaki, then mayroon kang mas malaki yung benefits para doon sa mga retirees, or mas stable yung pondo para doon sa future retirement fund ng mga retirees natin. So ganun lahat. Sa PhilHealth, yung excess funds should be going back, plowed back into the corporation para mas madali palakihin, mas marami yung mai-invest. Okay. However, in this case, in the 2024 budget, instead of going back to their fund para mas lumaki, para dumami yung pondo na pinalalaki natin, ito ay pumunta sa ayuda. 700 plus billion, almost 800 billion pesos worth of ayuda. So itong mga to ay nililipat, ay kinukuha. Nagkaroon kasi ng policy since umupo si Secretary Ralph Recto na mag-sweep ng lahat ng mga GOCCs natin at lahat ng yung mga government agencies na kumikita. So, yung pag-sweep nila includes yung pag-return ng pera such as yung ginawa sa PhilHealth and sa PDIC. May nakitang pera ang DOF secretary, at instead of allowing the GOCC to create more money out of that, ito po ay kinuha at nilagay sa National Treasury where it turned into unprogrammed funds. And from those unprogrammed funds, ini-release to Congress for ayuda. Okay? Yes, Maribar, we're talking about the PDIC also. Ngayon, what is the PDIC? This is an insurance company. Ang insurance company actually ay kasiguruhan, meaning ito po ay binabayaran ng bangko para may maisoli sila sa kanilang mga depositors kung sakasakaling magka-bank run o magkaroon ng issue yung kanilang mga bangko, biglang maging unstable. Pag nagsara ang bangko, pwede kang magbigay. Pero ang maximum na maaaring ibigay ng bangko o isoli sa iyo from your deposits is 500,000 pesos. Tandaan nyo yan pagka nagde-deposito kayo o nagsisave kayo sa mga bangko. Para sa akin, better to invest rather than simply put it in the bank. So in this case, okay, yung PDIC fund na kinuha was 117 billion pesos. Ang holdings ng PDIC needs at least 215 billion para makasagot at the rate of 500,000 pesos sa mga depositors ng mga bangko for it to remain viable. So paano yung viability nito? Kung kalahati ng pondo nito ay, sige, i-mute muna natin yan. Kung kalahati ng pondo nito ay nilaan para sa ayuda, yun na yun. Diba? What is going to happen to PDIC? Hindi siya magiging viable. Sabi ng Tol, napatunayan mo na yan. Opo, actually, inamin naman ng administrasyon. Ang sabi ng administrasyon, tama naman daw na pwede naman nilang kunin daw yung pera kasi hindi naman ginagamit ng PDIC. Natural, hindi ginagamit ng PDIC. Hindi po sila, how do you call this? They are an insurance company. So, kailangan steady lang na nandyan. Hindi yan tatanggalin. Ang gagamitin ng PDIC should be yung kita. So, ewan ko kung ano yung dito. Hindi to basta surplus katulad nung sa PhilHealth. So, ito yung problema also. Maharlika has been in existence since 2023. Magte-2025 na po, wala pa rin concrete na plano. So, nung budget hearing nila sa Senado, nag-demand ang mga senador. Hello, Maharlika, kamusta na kayo? Ano ang concrete plans natin? Sabi nila, this year, by year end of 2024, sila daw po ay mag-i-invest na sa power and infrastructure. Oh, good! Meron pala. Ano yung detalye? Anong klaseng power? Wala silang mabigay na detalye. In other words, napagalitan sila ng Senado dahil wala talagang tunay na plano. Basta imbento na lang sige sa power sector dahil yan po ang pinaka-pressing na infrastructure na kailangan natin. So, kibero tayo dito sa revised list of infrastructure flagship projects. Sana yun na lang ang ginamit ni Chairman Consing ng Maharlika. Di sana napatunaan pa na napaunlakan pa sila ng Kongreso at ng Senado. Okay? So, mamaya na natin pag-usapan ang liabilities kasi yun ang unang iniisip ninyo. Ay, kung ginawa niya to at mali ito, dapat managot sa batas. Meron pong tinatawag na mga discretionary acts. They are empowered to do it, but it wasn't very wise for them to do it. So not necessarily criminal act ito. Dahil, yun nga, this is an exercise of discretion. So kung sakasakali na gusto ninyong, ang magagawa lang is to correct that, to reverse that decision. Akala nyo naman lahat criminal eh. Tanong kayo ng tanong, can they be liable? Ma'am, di ba? Iba po ang planeta natin. Hindi po lahat ng pagkakamali is a criminal act. At hindi po lahat mapapanagot sila, pero pwedeng mapanagot sila politically. Ibig sabihin, they will lose popularity because, competence kulang. So again, I keep telling everybody, not everything needs a solution in the law or in the courts. Some of the solutions are political. So, ito po yung bakit nagkaroon ng issue again, aside from PDIC, dahil naaalarma ang mga businessmen at yung mga bangko. Kasi, itong mga pagkuha ng pondo, lalong-lalo na sa PDIC, endangers the banks. Kasi kung paano kung magka-bank run, di doble yung doble ang kabig ng gobyerno. Well, doble ang ang pagkakawawa ng bangko dahil they're responsible to their depositors. Pagka nagkaroon ng ganon, dapat insured yung mga deposits na yan. Yung insurance na yan should pay for at least 500,000 pesos. Pag hindi pa nakuha ng mga depositors na yan, grabe yung mga paghihirap. And a lot of people who save in the banks are, big businesses and ordinary housewives, students, and so on, who need to use the banking system. So, meanwhile, sabi ng International Monetary Fund, which also gauges the economic health of the country, sabi mali daw yung ginawa na ang pinagkuhaan ng seed money para sa Maharlika is the Land Bank and DBP. Bakit? Mga bangko din po ito. And particularly sa Land Bank. And sa DBP kasi, it finances also infrastructure projects. But Land Bank finances so many things, such as but not limited to. Okay, so, di ba? Okay, sabi ng IMF, it is not good for the health of the economy na yung mga malalaking bangko katulad ng Land Bank and DBP, which have very important roles in financing ang pagkukuhaan ng pondo. And as a matter of fact, nung una silang ni-require mag-turnover ng bilyones doon sa Maharlika Investment Fund, umangal sila, umalma sila kasi sabi nila, yung kanilang, it wasn't even about the health of the banks, but actually, yung clients nila, Land Bank, for instance, is the holder of the small, medium-scale, and micro-loans that are given for agriculture and for small businesses. They are the ones who provide loans for farmers. They're the ones who provide loans for small, medium-scale businesses in accordance with whatever the existing policy is on economic recovery as well as to spur economic growth. Who funds the PDIC? It's an insurance, so the banks also pay for it. Okay. But they are government-owned and controlled corporations. So, again, sabi ng IMF, kailangan i-safeguard yung mga bangkong ito considering their importance and considering ang laki ng kinuha. Plus, in order to remain viable and true to their mandate, kailangan isoli. Nung nagreklamo ang Land Bank at ang DBP at the onset of the Maharlika transfer, sabi nila, kawawa yung mga kliyente nila. However, nung dumagsa yung nasa skandalo yung mga tao, then nung dumami yung complaints at maingay ang social media, there I tell you, social media can make change just by making posts. So, nung dumagsa yung skandalo, biglang nag-issue ng statements ang DBP at Land Bank, ay hindi, we are stable, we are fine. Ang ganyan. Uy, talaga, hindi naman halatang dumaan sa ilong yan, Why? Because they are still under the executive at dahil napapahiya ang executive nun, they had to issue statements saying na, uy, okay lang kami, don't worry about us. Unfortunately, nakita ito ng IMF and they issued this opinion. So, eto na po, rumaragsa na. So the President, seeing na all of this, hindi kasi natin kayang i-maintain yung ganitong level ng mismanagement. And that's what it is, mismanagement. Pwede ba akong pumatol muna dun sa isang call? Tapusin ko muna. This is mismanagement on such a large scale. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of pesos that should be benefiting the public, are being spent on non-development projects that have very little measurable returns. Bakit? Yung ayuda na yan are ill-disguised vote-buying schemes. And we are spending so much. The 2024 budget of almost 800 billion for ayuda means that in 2024, all of our other infrastructure projects, all of our other developmental projects, and such as flood control, mind you, and all other projects that pertain to the welfare of our countrymen have diminished. And in other instances, have stopped completely, such as, but not limited to, the trains. Okay? All right. So, patola time, game. Sabi ni Rii, gosh, I hope you don't stink as much as your name. Anyway, gawa kayo ng foundation at tumulong kesa kontra na lang kayo ng kontra sa gobyerno. Shall we start? Where do we start with this one? Number 1, Mr. Rii, or whatever your gender is, I don't want to misgender you. Nagsasalita kami dito dahil mali ang gobyerno. Palibhasa ikaw, gusto mo, spoiled brat ang gobyerno. Ini-spoil ninyo mga officials at in fact an entire machinery that is already so powerful. Nagnanakaw na sila sa atin at sa ating kinabukasan, pero gusto mo tumuwad lang tayo. Yun po ang sinasabi mo dyan. You want them to continue to pillage the national treasury to the detriment of our well-being, the national interest, and the future of our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. Okay? Tumulong, that's what we're doing. Ikaw po, hindi. What you are doing is pinamimihasa mo ang mga magnanakaw sa gobyerno. Pinamimihasa mo ang mga taong gumagahasa sa treasury natin, and you want us to say thank you. Good grief. But if there is anybody here, if you were born during the time of Hitler, my gosh, you'd be wearing a swastika. I'm very sure of that. But wag mong isipin na you're not doing any harm. You are. Doon sa ginagawa mo na hindi ka tumututol dito sa harap-harapang mali na ginagawa ng gobyerno sa atin. One of these days, you will find yourself the victim of this government. Bakit? Kasi pinalaki mo yung ulo. So, excuse me. Ikaw yung hindi ka anti-hero. Villain ka. Sabi ni Rally, by siphoning the reserve funds of PDIC to the National Treasury, safe pa po ba ang banking system natin? Nandun kasi emergency funds ko. I don't have a crystal ball. Sa ngayon, of course, safe yan. Because you have, there's a fiduciary relationship with the bank. Meaning, the bank works on trust. But we don't know what will happen in the future. Hindi ko rin kayo maaabiso, keep your money or withdraw or anything like that. But I do advise that you invest your money in something stable. Because certainly, this raises concerns for us. It doesn't raise concerns about the bank itself. But the PDIC is what you call on to provide the 500,000 pesos in lieu of your deposit kapag may mangyari sa bangko. So, ang titignan ninyo, there is no substitute po for constantly checking on the health of your bank. Sabi ni Awi, bakit gagawa ng foundation? What would the foundation do to make the economy better? Sorry, pero ito, parang Angat Buhay. Sorry, but foundations like Anak Buhay are not a solution to economic problems. Correct. That's what I love about the people who make tambay here. So smart. Sabi ni Memein, M-E-M-E-I-N, 12 to. Sabi niya, sa sobrang liit ng boses mo, ay sa TikTok ka na lang nagpapapansin. Number 1, shungangers. TikTok lang nakikita mo. 3 po ang plataforma nito. Pangalawa, mas marami akong following kesa sa'yo. Okay? Pangatlo, kung maliit ang boses ko, marami pa rin naman akong kasama. And wala naman nakalagay sa saligang batas na kailangan malaki ang boses ko to make a difference, di ba? Unfortunately for you, hindi mo ako kilala. I have already made a difference. So, ikaw, bumalik ka na lang dito. Alis ka muna ngayon, try to accomplish something, bumalik ka dito pag may na-accomplish ka na. Kasi sa totoo lang, trying to pick on me when you're as small as you are doesn't really, para kang langgam na hindi namin nakikita, ni hindi ka nakakagat. Sabi ni Joper, listening from Cornwall, UK, kahit dito sa mga Pinoy na kausap ko, hindi na pabor sa pamamalakad ng gobyerno natin, lalo na sa babae at pinsan. Parang wala nang silbi ang pinuno sa atin, tauhan lang nakakalungkot. Lahat na lang ng pondo ng gobyerno pinapakialaman na aalarma tuloy ako sa ginawa ng PDIC. Meron pa naman kaming bank account sa Pinas kahit nandito kami sa malayo. You have to check on it, kasi para hindi yan madormant. Sabi ni Ma'am Angelina Torres, ipagtanggol pa ng mga trolls ang very weak budol, ungrateful sa balat ng lupa, korupsyon, mas malala pa kayo sa abnoy government. Sabi ni Raquel Custodio, wala nang mga investors na pumapasok sa atin sa Pilipinas. Well, meron, pero actually yung investors are not brick and mortar types that generate more jobs. So far, ang foreign direct investments natin, kaya sinasabi lang may growth, ay bumibili ng stocks in major corporations. What does that mean? It means yung mayaman ang mayaman na. Lumalaki yung corporations na malaki na. And you know, yung mga oligarchs dito sa Pilipinas, they're not really, they're not good for the economy because they are monopolists. Gusto nila sila lang. Tignan niyo yung isang kumpanya, they have malls, they have a university, they have condominiums, they have a construction company, they have a bank, they have so much money, they already don't know what to do with it. And like nowadays, if you need to buy something, you buy at their mall or at their grocery. You most likely will be able to buy a condo in their condo corporation. You go to school in their university, halos lahat kanila na. What does this mean? For the ordinary citizen, tayo, yung mga hampas lupang tulad natin, wala tayong pag-asa to grow. They will keep us small. They will keep us hungry. Oo, ayan. Para masaya naman sila. Sabihin nila, na gutom ka pero naka-iPhone. Ikaw lang naman nagsasabing gutom ako. Pero hindi naman yon yung sinasabi natin na gutom. Yung gutom na sinasabi natin, yung gutom para sa hustisya. Yung gutom para sa pag-aayos ng sistema ng agrikultura. Of course, deliberately misunderstanding is part of the troll game. Sabi ni Win Chavez, honestly, it's baffling how some people here can be so clueless about the gravity of the problems this country is facing. Sa kandangahan, di na nila naiintindihan ang severity of what's happening. Gusto lang mag-spout ng nonsense at magpapansin. The level of ignorance in these comments is absolutely unbelievable. Di na kailangan patulan yan, Attorney Briggs. Some of them kailangan po. Alam niyo kung bakit? Because we need to get their attention. We need to also talk to them because this issue will affect them. Oo, siguro busog sila dahil binabayaran sila to troll, and I understand na halos lahat daw ng mga PR operators ay may trabaho dahil dito sa mga ito. But they're not getting anywhere. They're not persuading anyone. In fact, even their attempts to make us unhappy, to make us feel attacked, or to make us feel that we are wrong or that we should shut up, not only is it not working, it motivates us. But there's also a potential here to explain to them what is going on. Ang totoo niyan, guys, trolls, makinig kayo. Ang totoo niyan, you should be worried. Alam ko hindi kayo nag-agree because your money depends on staying on that side. But the truth is, government is making things so unstable for us. Tandaan niyo at this point, oligarko lang talaga ang yumayaman ngayon. Yumayaman lang, yung mga dati ng mayaman, and they are gaining so much. Okay? Merong isa dyan, kongresista na nga, ang dami-daming construction companies. Pero tandaan niyo, meron ding mga nakaupo dyan sa Quadcom mismo, or at least one that we know of, who owns a construction company and is already facing charges of violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Why does this concern you? Kasi ang mga infrastructure projects na yan, pag tinutuloy yan, mayroong mga nakakapagtrabaho. Mayroong hindi po Villar. Mayroon pong pagka nagawa yung proyekto, mas madali ang commuting. Tandaan po ninyo, under the Duterte administration, napatakbo natin ang PNR after so many decades of neglect. 23 pesos from Calamba to Tutuban Station. Saan ka makakakuha ng ganyang kamurang pamasahe? So yung mga day workers natin, nakakapunta sa Metro Manila, and Metro Manila doesn't get congested dahil umuuwi sila. So, ang problema po, yung mga yon now have to spend 3 times the amount that they used to spend when PNR was running. Dahil pinatigil ang mga tren. Marami pong pinatigil na proyekto dahil gusto ng gobyernong ito, ng administrasyon na ito, i-renegotiate yung mga kontrata na ginagamit na nila. Ang Mindanao Rail, ganun po yung nangyari. Mayroon na pong kontrata. For signing na lang, hindi nila pinirmahan at naghanap ng ibang kontratista. Unfortunately, hindi sila nakahanap. At hindi po yan mapaglaanan ng pera ng gobyerno because so much of it is going to ayuda. Anong nangyayari? Tumigil ang project. Sinilulun nga ng ilang nating mga opisyal ang pride nila at bumalik sa China begging to reinstate the contract na hindian na po sila because of the South China Sea. Saan tayo kukuha ng loans na ganyang kamura? Wala. sayang yung tren. Pero hindi lang po Mindanao Rail ang napatigil. PNR. Ang North Rail daw ay hindi naman napopondohan ng maayos, yun yung dahilan kung bakit tumigil ang pagtakbo ng PNR. So ano nangyayari? Wala ka nang PNR, bagal pa rin ang North Rail. So yung dapat na 5 years pinatigil ang PNR, means na it's probably going to be more. At naghihirap araw-araw ang mga commuters natin na nanggagaling sa Laguna. Sana po wala kayong kamag-anak dyan, Pulse. At sana po napapakain mo yung mga taong naghihirap ngayon. Kung hindi, wala po kayong karapatan pagtawanan sila. At pagtawanan ang gutom.